All right, guys, I wanted to talk about the Electoral College and explain some things and maybe simplify some things for people that do not understand it. As you know, right now, we have a bunch of college kids protesting. Most of it's professional protesting, which means that they're being paid. I know for a fact I've got videos from people where they're busing them in, where they're on buses. Most all these protesters that are arrested in certain cities, the stats from the police department have been coming out, and their IDs do not even match the state or the city that they're in. Most times, both the state and the city that they're in protesting, their IDs do not reflect that, meaning that they're not even from that state. So you have a few people that want to monkey see, monkey do, and go out and do some protesting, but the majority of this protesting is people being bussed in, paid by George Soros, okay? It's just a fact. It'll come out, you'll see. Just like I told you, the polls were wrong coming up to this election when they said there's an 84% chance of Hillary to win. And all the media outlets were saying it. I'm telling you right now, all of these protesters, they're all paid. I've seen the ads from Craigslist. The ad is labeled "Want to help Hillary," and then it says, and it's a pretty good amount of money too. It says something like I think it's like $35 an hour, up to 77 hours a week, and it doesn't tell you what you're going to do, but it says you're going to help Hillary, and these are post-election ads. So let me just go ahead on. Okay, we got a lot of people out there that are talking about, oh, more human beings voted for Hillary than for Trump, and that's all that matters, and, she should be the president and all this. Well, let me tell you something, guys. That's not all that matters. There has been, I believe it's 4 times in the past where this has happened, where a presidential candidate won the popular vote but did not win and get elected because of the electoral vote. And let me tell you, the electoral vote is a very important thing to have in our country. And I'm going to kind of try to simplify this for you as to why. So, if it were not for the Electoral College, that means that just a few places would run the gamut on every single election. Let me give you an example. California, New York City, and Illinois. Or I could go California, New York City, Southern Florida. Either one of those combination of 3 places would run the gamut every election, for the most part. What that means is, number one, it means that the 2 presidential candidates would only campaign in those cities because those would be the ones that they would need. They would only campaign where the population is that high. I mean, literally, you got millions of people in these cities and in California and all those cities, you got millions of people out there. So they would focus all their attention in just a few places. Number 2, another reason that it would be terrible to not have an electoral college is because people that's in rural states, small states, where there's farmers, and there used to be a lot more farmers than there are now, but places that are rural, where there's more land than there is houses. You might have a house here, you might have farmland, and then there might be another house so far away that you can't see it from where this farmer lives. Those states would never have a voice in an election. It wouldn't matter. They would never be able to get any benefit from an election because presidential candidates would never go there and campaign and say, I'll do this for you. I'll do that for you. This is how I'll help your farming industry. This is what I'll do for you. Well, that would never happen because they wouldn't be there. They'd be in California, New York City, Southern Florida, Illinois. They would only be in the most populous places. And therefore, the smaller states would never, ever even have a voice. And the presidential candidates probably wouldn't even campaign there. So it makes it fair. It basically says that even though you're in a small state, we're not going to give you the disadvantage. We're not going to give you the short end of the stick because you live in a state that's that's of the farming industry. That supplies this country with food. You should have a voice in this election too. So we're going to make an electoral college. The electoral college makes it to where each state has a say in who becomes president. Okay, so in each state, they have more electors the bigger the state. So they do have more of a say. California has 55 electoral votes. And just to kind of give you an example, I don't even think Donald Trump campaigned much in California because I think he knew that that was going to go Hillary. So you see, rather than him having to go to, if it was going to be determined on the popular vote, Trump would have spent all of his time in California. But because he knew it did no good for him to be in California, he didn't have to waste his time there. He knew it was going to go blue. He might have campaigned some there, but he didn't do a lot there. And as Hillary didn't have to go into Utah as much, or some of these other places where Donald Trump won by a landslide. This is why the Electoral College is the fairest way to do an election. The only thing that pushed Hillary Clinton over the edge in the popular vote was California. Before California's numbers rolled in, they were the last to come in. Donald Trump held the popular vote the whole way. So that just goes to show you, it wouldn't be fair on either end, guys, if there was not Electoral College. It gives each state their say in an election. Otherwise, if you were in a small state, or you had a lot of state with a lot of farmland, it would be pointless for a candidate to even offer to do things for your state, to help you, to help things in your state. You would never get anything done. It would only be a few major cities that would run the gamut every election. Guys, I hope that breaks it down for you. If you have any questions, let me know, and I'll try to answer them in the comments below. All right, guys. Till next time, this is H4T, and I'm out.